Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of the Final Fantasy Legend 2. We last left off, our party was joined by Isis, one of the ancient gods. Isis was summoned after Linus tried to use the magi to revive his father. Dad was knocked out basically when he shielded the party from Apollo, who basically exploded after a fight with him. Because when Apollo used the magi, he didn't have all 78. He only had 77. He was missing the final magi, the heart. And the Guardians basically spread the rumor that there was only 77 to prevent them from being abused. So, since Apollo didn't have them all, his use of the magi was flawed. And that, of course, eventually led to his defeat during the battle with him. So, but we had all 78 magi, so when Linus used them to revive his father, it summoned the actual goddess Isis. And if you look at Isis's stats, which are all 99, all maxed, all her equipment is basically from the magi. So she attacks with the Masmian Magi, which does about like 500 to 550 damage. She can defend with the Aegis Magi. She has the Heart Magi to revive all your characters. She has the Pegasus Magi to teleport around. And then she also has another ability, the Flare ability. So you can actually use that Flare ability because Isis has max stats, like I said, 99. And then the flare is times 15, so she does like over 1,000 damage with her flare spell. Hits all enemies, so you can pretty much just wipe out these enemies and just keep heading down the stairway to get to the center of the wall. And that's our destination. As you can see, the screen is shaking a lot. That's because when the magi were used, it caused an imbalance in the world. And now the world is shaken, and Isis basically has to reset the security system to prevent it to stop the shake and ruining the world. But she can't get there on her own, so she got the party to help her out. So yeah, I guess it's the least we can do, because when she appeared, she used her talents, or her skills, or her magic, to make sure that, you know, Dad would recover. So now we just got to keep heading down these stairs, but it's not really, I guess you can't really call them stairs, they're more like slopes, because stairs would imply that you can climb back up them. You can't do that. The only way you can leave this area is either through the Pegasus Magi, which is equipped on Isis, teleport spell that one of your mutants or one of your monsters may have, or with a door item that you could have bought in the final town there. So another thing you could have done in the final town is stock up on tents and elixirs, and that's one way if you wanted to just like speed through this area. You just keep heading down the passageways and basically just using Isis's flare ability to wipe out all the enemy groups that you encounter. Doing that, though, of course, means that you're not going to get into a lot of fights. You won't gain the stats, and as you can see, we've been getting lots of stats for our characters. That's because all these monsters are basically tier 10 monsters. They're the strongest monsters that you can encounter in the game regular-wise. Now, obviously, there's going to be, you know, the final boss, which is a little tougher. There's going to be like this optional mini-boss and optional like super boss monster. And then you're going to have two mini-bosses here, Fenrir and Tianlong. So I'll just talk about them a little bit, what those monsters are based on when we get to them. But those monsters are guaranteed to drop meat, and that's the only way that you can get your player character monster to the highest form, the 5th tier monster transformation. So yeah, right now P is at the 4th tier monster transformation, the King Crab, which is a crab monster that you can actually encounter here. So I will be encountering all the monsters on the way down here. That's why you'll notice that sometimes I stop and I just kind of wander around on the floor a little bit. Somebody went through the game's code and basically disseminated the formations, the enemy formations, and then the percentages that that formation will appear in a certain area. So I went through and I looked at that, and I determined where the highest percentages of meeting a monster would be. So I always say, I always like to do 100% playthroughs. So that includes finding all the monsters, showing them all off. You can see their stats that I'm putting over there on the side that I've been doing throughout this entire thing, playthrough. So I'm going to be farming some monsters here. You know, I kind of did a separate document to determine, you know, where monsters will be most likely to be found, so I can minimize the grinding that I do. But so that's why sometimes you'll see that I'll just stop before I head into another doorway. Because every time that you step in through a doorway into a new area, the formations of the monsters in that area kind of change. So I want to make sure that I get the monsters where they're most common. So we're getting some, like I said, some good stats from all these monsters. One interesting thing is these monsters, you can't run from any of them. The only monster you can potentially run from is the Honeywa, and that is the kind of like the optional super monster. But that's you don't meet that until you get to the center. But we have quite a few more of these staircases to head on down before we hit the center. So, and the final center door is blocked by one of those mini bosses. I forget if it's Tianlong or Fenrir that guards the final one, but either way, we'll encounter them. We'll encounter at least one of them in this episode. So then we'll finally be able to turn P into the 5th tier monster. You won't be able to turn directly into the final crab, the Dagon crab, but we only need to eat one more type of meat for that to happen. So, but another thing you'll notice that I'm doing a lot of these monsters have a lot of dangerous magical abilities, and even though a lot of our characters do have some status and spell resistances thanks to the dragon armors or the parasuits, it's always good to have Isis use the Aegis magi, because that puts up a barrier around the entire party. Isis herself is immune to basically all magic. She has the all ability. So yeah, Isis, even though I guess when you first start playing, I know when I first went through this game, you know, Isis was, you know, more of an offensive character for me. Basically abusing the flare. She's guaranteed, like I said, to do about 500 to 550 damage with the Masmune, which ignores an enemy's defense and properties such as O-Weapon or O-All. So she can pretty much two-shot an enemy. But the problem with the Masmune is it only, you know, hits one enemy. It doesn't attack a group. So yeah, it's not really good for cutting through the enemies. And so actually, as I've, you know, evolved in my playstyle, I find her to be more useful as a defensive character, especially when you fight the Honeywa. Putting up that barrier really can save you, because one of the spells the Honeywa uses is the Quake spell, and there is no resistance to the Quake spell that you can get from equipment. So it basically saves a lot of damage, and the Honeywa has like high stats too, so it can really hurt your character. So that is one of the few monsters, that is the only monster you can run from, like I mentioned earlier, in this area. But one of the reasons why you wouldn't want to run from it is, one, it's, you know, very high level monster, so you probably get some good stats off of it, and two, it has a chance to drop the strongest sword in the game, the 7th sword. It gives you a chance to, when you swing that sword, it gives you basically a chance to hit 7 times with it. So based on your agility determines how how many times you hit, 1 through 7 times, and the strength determines how much damage it does. So, and it's the 7th sword, so it only comes with 7 uses, but it's really good to, you know, put on your robot. Cuts down to 3 uses, but still, you know, 3 uses is pretty good. And when you see how much damage it can do, yeah, 3 uses is more than enough. So, especially when you have a robot built like Honey Mouse, who is built currently to strength, but has maxed out agility, actually over maxed out agility because of that martial arts glitch that, you know, I showed off. So, yeah, Honey Mouse, if you build a robot up like her and get equipped with the 7th sword, pretty much guaranteed to hit 7 times and basically hit with like the strength of a 99. So do up to like, you know, 4,000 to 5,000 damage. Think about like hitting an enemy like 7 times. You're basically getting like, when you use that sword, you're basically getting like 7 rounds of combat in one swing. So spoilers. I actually, when I finished off this playthrough and went out and did a lot of farming to max out my character's stats, I ended up getting 3 7 swords. So, as a kid, I could rarely find them, but then again, I didn't do as much grinding as I did for this playthrough. So now that grinding, of course, will come post-game. I'm not going to grind max stats to defeat the final boss, because that would be, I won't say cheating, but I'm just trying to show you that you don't necessarily have to grind stats like this to end up beating the boss. If you just play normally, you'll be okay. So that's my new phone that just rang there. So, or it just gave a new notification. So, yeah, unfortunately was forced to get a new phone because nothing wrong with my old phone, but it was an older phone and it's not compatible with the 5G network that my provider is transferring to. So, like, you need to get a new phone, otherwise you won't have service anymore. So, oh no, can't have that. So, gotta be able to use my phone to take cute pictures of my rats who are causing some trouble right now. Yeah, while they're out playing, I usually throw one of them on my lap and they alternate while I do these recordings. So, and then one's on my lap and then the other ones are walking around. Well, 2 of them will walk around. Pops and Princess Sarissa will walk around. Arthur and Durf, unfortunately, they have hind-end degeneration, so they kind of just shuffle around. Plus, they're really old too. Now, Princess Sarissa is actually the oldest. She's 3 years, 2 months at least. But she's still kind of active for an old girl. So she'd basically be like you in years, basically like 90, 95. So Arthur and Durf are getting in their low 80s. So, but they're still getting around. I ordered a wheelchair off for them from this rescue up in Maine, hoping to get it soon, and that'd be nice. I'll be able to put some pictures up on Facebook of this wheelchair for my rats. Hopefully they like it. It's kind of like a little canine cart. There was, I know one of the books that I got a long time ago, a story that I really liked, was about Wheelie Willie, how Willie got his wheels. Wheelie Willie was a paraplegic chihuahua who was rescued by Deborah Turner, and she ended up writing a book about it, 2 books actually. How Willie got his wheels, which is described how he ended up getting his first canine cart to help him move around, and then the next one was how Willie got his wings, which is a story about when she took him to the airport to see family members. So, yeah, there was a Garuda. That's what P was before he turned into the king crab. We fought several king crabs already. So, da-donk. Looking at the stats of the Garuda there, it has the warning ability. Surprisingly, sometimes quite a few of the monsters in this area don't have the warning ability, so you can still get preemptive attacks if your mutant has the surprise ability. So, and of course, Vincent does have the surprise ability. So, surprise and warning, two really good abilities that for your mutant to have. So probably the best ones you want to have are surprise, warning. That'll give you the chance to surprise enemies, get a preemptive attack. Warning prevents enemies from getting that to you. Then having all, which is protection from everything. And then I guess the final ability, if you're really farming, is the recover. So we're gonna make a quick save before we fight this mini boss here, the Tian Long, and basically that is based on Chinese mythology. It's a flying dragon, so it comes from the words Tian, which is heaven, and Long, dragon. So it's basically the heavenly dragon is what it translates to. They kind of misspelled it when they did the translation here, but anyway, yeah, you want to make sure you save before you get into a fight with one of these guys. We got lucky and we surprise attacked it, but if you get into a fight with, say, like 4 of them, and they all go ahead of you and use that tornado, yeah, there's nothing you can do. It'll basically just wipe you out. For these mini bosses, this is a good time to use Isis's flare spell, and that basically cuts off basically half their hit points. So, and we get to eat its meat, get another stat for Linus, and P is now turned into Genbu, which was one of the 4 fiends, the Black Turtle from Final Fantasy Legend 1. So now you can't get all 4 fiends in this game because you can only have 2 maxed out monsters, but in the remake, if you wanted to, the DS remake, where you can get more meat to transform all your monsters into the 5th transformation, you can be running around with a party of the 4 fiends, the Genbu, Shiryu, Bayuko, and Suzaku. But can't do that here, so that's all good. So, one more meat transformation. I think we have to get a Hydra meat, and that will eating that will transform P then back into his crab form, the final crab form. So, oh man, unfortunately that rock has that warnings and surprise. So. Speaking of abilities, I don't know if I mentioned it. Yeah, another ability, if you want to like farm for abilities that is pretty decent to have, is the recover ability. Isis comes equipped with that ability, and basically that at the end of combat, your character will recover 10% of their max hit points. So Isis gets 99 hit points back. The robot can get that ability if you equip the Selfix on it. We end up getting a Selfix in the nasty dungeon, and one of the monsters here, I think the Interceptor is what it's called, the mechanical like floating robot that can drop extra Selfixes. So if you're running a party of robots and you want them all to have that recoverability, that's one way you can get it. So let's see what the Excalibur does here. Yeah, see how powerful Isis's flare spell is. Whew, just wiped out those enemies. So I'll use it because before we fight the next mini boss, which is obviously going to be Fenrir, we want to have Isis have full charges of her flare spell. So we're gonna obviously use a tent eventually, so. Dunk. Hey, there's P's old form, the king crab. Look, and it fell. Look. So, oh yeah, Ice is strong against that, but if Isis ever does take damage, you'll see a message at the end of the combat basically saying that Isis recovered hit points. And if you ever see an enemy doing that too, basically the enemy also has that recover ability, so that super monster, the super boss, that Honeywa, actually has that ability. And it is really annoying because he has 10,000 hit points max, which ties him with the final boss for the most hit points in the game. So with that recover ability, when he basically recovers 1,000 hit points at the end of each round, which is more than Isis can deal with a flare spell. So, but just keep wandering around here. We gotta find another monster here real quick. There we go, the Gloom Monster. So, and speedrunners use the upgraded form of that, the Madam Butterfly, because one of its abilities there is the Absorb ability, which is really good for the final boss because it allows the Madam Butterfly to deal damage to the final boss and recover hit points. So when he gets to the final boss, you'll see why hit point recovery is really, really important, because it has some very nasty attacks, but I guess that's to be expected. I mean, it's the final boss. You know, it's gonna be tough. They're gonna make it throw everything it can at you, so. Oh, we got a little thing there. Somebody must have used magic on Linus, and he blocked it with the rune axe. So, go back, rewind it, and you can check out that little message there saying that it kind of repulsed the attack. Goodbye, Gloom Butterfly. Yoink! Nope, we don't want to eat that meat, so. Alright, oop! And we're just about to head into that door to head to the next area, and whoa, lo and behold, we get into another fight with these enemies, so. Nasty spell cast over there, that Sylph. Dunk! We'll take it out though. Too bad, yeah, I don't think the power suit, like I said, doesn't have protection from the thunder, so it's another reason why, unlike, I guess that's one disadvantage over the dragon mail. But Isis can throw up the barrier there to save, so. Yeah, Genbu, not really a good monster. Has good stats, doesn't have really good abilities. Toward the end of the game, magic just so outpowers physical attacks, because magic is basically the only way you're going to deal with large groups of enemies. So, speaking of magic, we just got some more mana to increase our character's magic abilities. So, well, that'll be it for this episode. Take care, and we do some more monster farming in our next episode. Bye!